It's your boy Chad Rod. We back, baby. Hey, welcome back to the #iAMWHOiAM podcast. This is episode 49. Don't have a really cool athlete.
No, we couldn't find one.
We found some, but they weren't cool. But something cool, a cool fact though. I want to make sure I get it right. A cool fact about what happened in 1949 is 500,000 steel workers went on strike.
That's a lot.
Yeah, who knew that? And my granddaddy was a steel worker down there at the Alcoa aluminum plant back then. So, I mean, that's really interesting.
That is interesting.
I did not know that.
It's also a good audible to the athlete thing.
It's yeah. So it's really cool. So I have a return guest. Came back to the podcast. I appreciate it, man. It means we doing good things over here, man. It means you had a good time. Go ahead and introduce yourself one more time for the peoples.
I just Tommy Moss, just here to back to talk a little bit.
Hey, man, Tommy Mouse. Hey, better recognize. So, man, funny story before we get started, man. So, you know Ron from the gym, older gentleman, skydive.
Yep.
Okay, so Ron helps me move a refrigerator. We go to Sevierville and grab it, and we bring it back or whatever. Make a long story short, we get it in the house or whatever, and I go to bring my car and pull it in the garage. So I see this swarm of flying things. I'm thinking flies, whatever, So I walk through it directly. Man, I feel a sting. Pow. I'm like, and so I guess I piss it off. So it's like 3 of them. Pop, 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 pop.
Man.
Then I smack one, it gets in my eyeball. So I'm like, trying to get it out of my eye, and I smack it again, then it starts stinging my chin.
Man.
We got a dang nest full of yellow jackets.
Man, that sucks. I've been stung like that before, right in the eye.
I got a black eye, man. I was like, man, this is crazy, man. But
that
they messed me up. But he paid for it. He is no longer with us. R.I.P. But yeah, man, we'll jump right into it, man. So we both are fathers. We like to be, good husbands, great fathers, better fathers, I would think.
Yeah, we can always be better, right?
Yeah,
we're always striving to be better every day at being a father and a husband, like you said.
Yes, sir.
That's my goal every day.
Every day. And so right now we are in a crisis. Not only are we in a pandemic to where I heard something today that is it 88 minutes a person is dying? Or 80 minutes a person is dying from coronavirus?
I'm not sure of that, but I mean, it seems like a lot. That seems like about right.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty often that it's happening, and we're here in Tennessee,
right?
And I don't know exactly how I feel about the coronavirus and its legitimacy.
Yeah.
But I do know I don't want my kids to be the test.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to say anything wrong, but it feels like sending, my kids want to go to school. Because I asked them, we sat down and we had a conversation. Hey, school's starting back.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. If you go back to school, you're probably going to catch the coronavirus. Probably going to happen. So you need to make that decision. I'm going to let y'all make that decision, and I'm going to support your decision.
Right.
With you catching it means I'm going to catch it.
Yep.
Your mother's going to catch it.
Yeah, pretty much your whole household.
We're going to catch it, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to go back, I'll support you. I understand y'all been out of school for this long. I want you in school, but you're probably going to catch it, right? And we all decided as a family to go back to school. I said all that to say I shouldn't have to have that conversation with my kids.
No, I agree. I mean, it's difficult. We had the same conversation. We talked to our daughter, and we were like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back to school? Do you want to do the virtual learning? She's ADHD, and she struggles sometimes with, holding that attention level in there. So me personally and my wife personally, we thought it would be best for her to be in an in-class setting. Right. But she wanted to try the virtual learning, so we signed up for that, and she's been doing that for a couple weeks now. And it's been a learning curve. You and I talked earlier today about how it took her a couple of hours to do a test just because she didn't know which button to hit, right? So I get what you're saying. I would rather them be in class. That's how we did it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's difficult. It's difficult. What's decisions right? I don't know if there is a right answer. Do you go? Do you stay home and do it? There's no right answer. It's just you got to decide what's best for you and your family. And if your kids want to go to school and you think that's the best for them, then support them that way. If they want to learn virtually and you think that's the best way, support them that way.
Right. And it comes back to this too. Like, do I want to raise my kids to be scared and fearful? Yes, this virus could kill you. But yes, you could walk out the door or be on the school bus. Something could happen.
Car crash,
anything can happen. So I don't want to raise them being fearful, but at the same time, I want us to take precautions. And I feel like the school system had great precautions. It felt like they put a lot of thought into going back to school.
Yeah, I agree. They did. They put a lot of thought in it. And I made notes of some of those thoughts. So it's like, I've talked to I have 2 other kids who are actually going to school and doing the actual in-person type classroom settings. So they're doing the same thing we're doing like at the gym. First thing we do when we walk in, they check our temperature. So they're checking their temperature and they're doing the physical distancing, making sure people are 6 foot apart and, wearing their face coverings as much as they can. And I've been told that the teachers are the ones that are changing the classrooms, not the students this time. So they're in the classroom 6 foot apart. And then when it's time for a new teacher, the teachers then change classrooms.
Okay.
So the hallways are designated. This hallway you go this way. This hallway you go this way. One-way flow, so it minimizes the traffic in the hallway. Right. And then also, I tried to take that a step further. What are they doing for the kids who have to ride school buses? So I have a friend. He's a bus driver. They're doing like assigned seatings.
Right. My daughter rides the bus. So
right.
Yeah.
So like I found out they were doing assigned seatings. Face mask was required on the bus. And then one step further, I wanted to kind of take this, and I thought, what are they doing about the special needs kids?
That's a good question. That's a great question.
Because some of those kids don't know to wear a face mask or don't know not to be 6 foot from some. They don't understand and get the concept of it. So, they need like extra attention. So the conversation that you and I had earlier, maybe more teachers involved when there's those special needs kids.
Right.
Because they don't want to get sick. They're already more susceptible to disease anyways.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that because, you tell them to wear a mask unless it's on where they can't get it off.
Right.
They didn't hear nothing you said. They're like,
they may not even care. And it might totally mess up who they are to change their routines.
Right.
We don't like to wear a mask. We have to wear them at work. I don't like it, but I have to do it.
Yeah, at work I have to wear a mask. I'm not opposed to the mask. My thing is this though. This is my belief on the whole mask thing. If I have to wear a mask, I feel like I shouldn't have to be there.
That's a
you
good
see what
point.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So if you're saying, hey, we you have to wear a mask, then it should be optional for me to be there.
That's a good point.
You see what I'm saying?
If you can work from home, you should have that
I should be
ability.
able to work from home because I And my place of employment does great. We only have to wear the mask when we're walking around other people.
Same, we are too. If I'm in my office or we're 6 foot apart, I don't have to wear a mask.
Yeah. So they doing a great job with it. It's not like I got a mask on all day. But I still feel like if it's that serious, why do I have to be there? And back to the kids, like I'm in the house teaching my kids, like, if you pick up this piece of paper, hey, grab your sanitizer.
Yeah, I know, right?
And put it on.
And that's one of the notes that I made here. We need to make sure that we got plenty of that. And they need not only like a big bottle at home, they need personal bottles if they're going to go to class. And not just a little one that you can buy at Bath & Body Works that smells good. I'm talking like a good size personal bottle of hand sanitizer.
It's about like that water bottle, man.
Right.
And we put it in both of their backpacks. And I told them, I said, if you touch anything, your face, the computer, if you touch, as soon as you touch it, do this.
Amen.
But the thing is, though, it's like the rest of the nation is going back Labor Day, I believe.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine text me from, I used to work with him in Texas, and he texted me last night and asked me if we had started back school, and he said they were starting back next month.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they're going back after Labor Day. So we're one of the earlier states to go back.
Right. And like I said, I'm not against going back. I just don't want my kids to be the guinea pigs.
I don't either.
You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. And so I look at the NBA for an example on how they're doing it. And I spoke to a woman today at work, really good friend of mine. Shout out Tanya, love. And I brought to her. I said, well, why don't they do it like the NBA does it? Kind of like, test everybody, all your students before they come back, see who has it,
right,
and let them, school from home, and then you bring the students in. But then she made me aware, which I knew this, but you'd have to test them basically every day.
Yep.
Just like the NBA.
And I'm pretty sure the NBA is testing every day.
Every day.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't want to put my kids through getting a test every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not.
From
what I've heard, my wife's been tested, and it's not. She's a frontline worker. I love you, babe. Hero, being out there, all the nurses. But she's been tested, and it's not pleasant from what I've been told. I have not been tested, so it's not pleasant.
How did she say what? Because I haven't been tested either. So how?
All I know is that it goes up through your nose, and it goes not so much like up as much as it goes back, and they push you back, and it goes back in there pretty deep, and they say it's not real pleasant. So
yeah, I've heard the same thing. I don't want to get tested. Half of it, the reason is because of the procedure, but a half of it is I don't want that documented on my records that I had coronavirus.
If I got tested, then I'm automatically I can't go to work.
Right.
So I'm out of work for however much time until I get the results.
Right.
And if they're positive, then I'm still out for even more. But if they're negative, then I can go back to work. But even just to be tested, you're automatically out of work.
Right.
Just if you're tested.
Yeah, because that's how it is here too. If you get tested, it's 14 days.
Right.
And I think it's 7 days to get the test back.
Yep.
Or 5 to 7 or whatever.
It takes a while.
So kind of to jump off subject for a second. So I've been having this conversation with a lot of people. We don't know how the coronavirus and the flu mix yet.
That's true. I never really thought about that, but it's flu season coming up in a few months.
Right?
Right.
So let's say I'll use me as an example. Let's say I'm walking around with it. Yeah, I can handle it in the summer. I'm great. I'm doing good. Gung ho. I'm asymptomatic or whatever they call it.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
But then I catch the flu and I drop dead. You see what I'm saying?
It's scary to think about.
Well, yeah. I'm nervous than a mug, man. And the main reason is because of my kids. Because let's say, God forbid, but let's say one of them does get it. They're cool. They're playing. It's fine. Still a party. Flu season comes around. We don't. You know what I'm saying? Because the flu is bad by itself.
By itself, yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, what do you think about something like that? Is that,
So we actually, it's funny that you say that because Stephanie and I, we actually talked about the flu, and then there's just more vaccines that you can take for the flu, right?
Right.
This is unknown, the coronavirus. Is there a cure for it? There's a lot of videos and a lot of theories out on the internet. You can look them up and read them, listen to them if you want. But the flu, you can get the flu shot. You can do that, and then there's vaccines to kind of help counteract that. And I'm with you, man. If I had it, even the flu or the coronavirus, I feel like I won't say I would be okay, but I would be, from my moral standard, I would be okay with myself. I would understand, okay, hey, you got it, you're sick. But if I took that and I give that to one of my kids, it would break me in half. You talk about
I may die from that.
Yeah, exactly.
From
a big
broken
guy,
heart.
A big guy. I would feel about that big after it was all over with.
Yeah.
I would hate that. I would hate myself for doing that.
Yeah,
or my wife if I took it home.
Me too. Yeah, me too. And that's what I'm battling with now. With them going back to school, is that every day I'm basically I'm rolling the dice.
Yep. Yeah, it's a struggle, man. I mean, we all do though, right? Yeah, I mean, we do. We go to the gym every morning. And we're there, and it's a roll of the dice there too. We're one of the first people there every morning.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so speaking on the gym, I will give our gym credit. It seems really clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really believe, like, with the crowd that's there every morning, it's basically the same people.
It's the same people. You're right.
So I do feel Kind
I
of.
feel good about it too.
Pretty good.
Everything's
I
separated
feel like
out.
everybody there when we're there is making pretty good decisions the rest of the day.
Right, I agree. You're right. I agree completely.
Yeah.
But I mean, we are susceptible to it at the gym, at Kroger's, at work, wherever we go. The school thing, that we've already kind of discussed a little bit. What is the school doing to help our kids? And I thought also, what can we do? The extra parent, and we talked about making sure that they have the hand sanitizer.
Right,
making sure you're doing that as much as you can.
Every time.
If you think you should do it, you should have already done it. You should have already had it done. Don't even think about it. Just do it.
Yeah. You
right?
want punishment.
I'll buy you some more, right?
Hand sanitizer unlimited. Yeah.
So, what else can you do? So, don't wait on the school to check the tent. You check it at home. And if you think there's even a chance, then you keep them at home. So just because you're not only protecting your child, you're protecting other children.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second thing, if there is a way that, you and I talked and you said that your daughter rides the bus. But maybe if there's a way that you could, and I'm not trying by any stretch of the means to say you're not doing the best you can, but if there's a way to take that one aspect out of there and you take them to school, that limits more social activity. And then, just make sure they're caught up on their shots. Every one of these kids got to have a certain number of shots to get into certain grades. If you make sure they're doing that and they're caught up, I think that's it's a plus. And then, this is a personal thing for me. It might not help in the coronavirus or anything, but when we go to the gym in the morning and I leave the gym, I feel good.
Yeah, me too.
It energizes me, gets me ready for the day. I've been taking my daughter. She don't go as much as she wants to.
Right.
Every night she's like, "Can I go to the gym with you?" Yeah, but she don't always get up.
That's how.
But when she does go, I notice that she's up, and when we get back home, she's more energetic as we're getting ready for things. So, I mean, that's just some steps that I kind of thought of that you could do as a parent to help what the school's doing.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're completely right. I mean, I believe a healthy lifestyle will always combat illnesses.
Right. I think so too.
And that's what this is like a virus. It's a virus. It's like the flu, the cold, something like that. Like, of course, it could kill you, but at the same time, the flu could kill you. If you catch the wrong cold, it could kill you.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you want to eat right. Like me, for an example, I'm bad about taking multivitamins. I take the Animal Pack. Is what I take I try to take it every day. And since March, I don't think I've missed a day.
Really?
Just because I'm like, let me get conscious. I need to make sure I'm getting these vitamins, make sure I'm doing this, because just in case I do miss a meal or whatever the case may be, I miss a workout, I got these vitamins in me to help combat whatever may come. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times with this, and this may sound terrible, but a lot of people I see that are dying from it are people that are not active because it affects your lungs. So if your lungs are already fighting a battle, then it's going to be tough for it to fight another one, if that makes any sense.
Right. I agree.
So I said all that to say, a lot of people are complaining about, this and that, mask, no mask, whatever. But this is a great opportunity to look in the mirror.
Right.
To take a look at yourself. Say, hey, what can I do better to combat this virus? Not play the victim role. Oh, I caught it. Let me get on this ventilator and let me die. You see what I'm saying? So, like, this would be a great opportunity to learn to fight before. I'll give you an example. The last podcast, or actually episode 47, cystic fibrosis, I believe is her disease that she had. And hers is a lung disease. She had double lung replacement surgery. Her whole thing, even as a kid, was learning how to breathe. Practice breathing, using like we train biceps, chest, legs. She's training her lungs for that, to build up her lungs.
Something we take for granted.
Until you mess around and you catch this coronavirus.
Right. Now
your lungs like, hey, I'm not used to this. What is this? What is this? What is this pressure? It's a lot of pressure. It's not used to it at all. And you're not running. You're not eating right. You're not walking. you're not getting your heart rate up ever.
Right.
Ever. You know what I'm saying? Not once a week, not twice a week. Oh, it's good. It's just the monitor cut off. But you're not taking care of yourself.
Right.
So now you get hit with a disease or an illness or a cold or a flu.
Right.
Or a coronavirus, and now your body is like, whoa. Right. Just like anything else, man.
I agree with you. I agree that if you're trying, like you said, to do the right things physically to make yourself be better in shape for what is coming up, you don't know what's coming up. We don't know what's coming up. You know, it could be anything. No. And working out, a large part of working out is breathing right. You know, learning how to breathe through your sets. Exhale when you're supposed to, inhale when you're supposed to. And it's your lungs strengthen as we work out. And you're right, as far as building up that immune system. Me personally, I think that if you're working out or you're doing any kind of physical activity, you don't have to be working out. You can just go for a walk. You can, any kind of activity. I go for a walk at lunch at least 3 days a week. I walk 2 miles every day. I used to run, then my foot started hurting. So right now it's just been walking.
Yeah.
So I just think if you can find a way to make yourself feel better, not only will it help you physically, it also is that mental thing we talked about. I mean, you just feel better about yourself in general. Yes. And you feel stronger mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yes. And you create some fight in you.
Yeah.
You get, like me, for an example, if I get sick, I don't just lay down. I'm like, let me force my way to the gym. I ain't talking about coronavirus or infecting other people sick.
Right.
But I mean like a common cold or a fever back before fevers were dangerous.
Right.
You know, I would still go to the gym, fight through it, whatever the case may be, because I know if I do that, then it's going to help me later.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So you're kind of jumping ahead and kind of getting just a touch.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, me too, kind of now. So you kind of got me going over the top.
Yeah.
When you talk about, wanting to feel better and going to the gym, you're going to fight through that. Okay. See, we have an agenda. And on our agenda, one of the first things we want to do is we want to be at the gym because it makes us feel better. Plus, we like it.
Yeah, I do.
We've been doing it for a long time. So we like to do it and we feel better about it. So we wake up and we go to bed. We go to bed with an agenda. We wake up with an agenda. It doesn't matter what we feel like when we wake up because we know we got something to go do.
You can say that again because that's so real. Please say that again.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, if I only worked out when I really felt great, 1-2 days a week.
If that.
Right? I'm tired every day. I go in the gym and 5 minutes later I'm feeling better.
I'm like, woo.
I woke up with a purpose and a commitment to myself to go work out. I don't always want to go, but when I get there, I feel better about myself. And when it's over, sometimes what you think is your worst workout ends up being your best.
Man, that happens all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
You go into the gym, man, this workout's going to suck. I should have just stayed in bed. Wow, man, I felt great. I don't know how I did all that.
Dang, man, time's up already?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it's important. I mean, I think you need to be goal-driven and focused. When I say wake up with an agenda, it will force you. If you really want that agenda to come true, it will force you to get up. It doesn't matter how you feel.
Right. And that's the thing. A lot of people, back to the school thing, a lot of people don't look at the big picture. So the big picture is let's get our kids in school, let's get back to work, let's do all this, let's do this, and this. But they don't look at the people that it is affecting.
Right.
So, like, back to the school thing. My kids go to school. The only person from everything I read that's in danger are the teachers. Right?
I mean, I guess, because they're the ones.
Because from what I read, it doesn't affect kids the same way, and nobody knows the truth about this virus. But apparently, if older people get it, it's worse. But kids can't transmit it to. How did I read it? Kids can't transmit it to other kids. Maybe. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that too, but I do know that here locally, I think there was somebody at Alco in the Alco.
Yeah.
I know that there was a positive test in the Maryville. I want to say it was at John Sevier Elementary.
Yeah, that was today or yesterday.
Yeah, so you're talking like 5th grade and lower. They're getting it, and Are they at danger? Sure. Everybody's at risk, right? We've already talked about that. But maybe the teachers are trying to minimize those students' risks, and they put themselves more at risk. Shout out to the teachers for doing that.
That's what I'm saying, because they seem like they're on the front line too.
Right.
Because
for sure they are.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And not only that, they also have to provide motivation for those kids. And that's kind of where I was like, wanting to go with that. These kids may be scared. And then, I remember one time when I was a freshman, we were K through 8th, man, and then we went to high school. So I was scared to death. Right? The people that I had been in class with side by side all the time, I may not have classes with them. So I kind of started thinking about, not only are these kids going to be scared of the coronavirus,
right,
how can they get their mind off of that to actually focus on the learning? How can you motivate a child to learn during this time?
Right.
So I made like some notes on some things that I thought would be kind of important, and I broke it down by the age groups a little bit. And I thought, I wanted to start with I have a 3-year-old. Okay, she's fixing to turn 4 next month. She's my princess. Everybody that knows me knows that. So
it's only right.
That's right. I mean, so it's hard to motivate elementary school age kids. So what can you do as a parent and a teacher? Really, the only thing I can kind of come up with is you can just give them emotional support. You can tell them, hey, you're doing a good job. You're trying. I recognize your struggle. Let me get you some extra attention, some extra help in this area, and then be there for them physically. Go to the open houses, the parent-teachers nights. I know this year's probably not a thing, not going to happen, but field trips. It's a big thing for, to support your kids when they go on field trips and stuff like that. So I was just kind of thinking, just allow them to get in there and grow and blossom in those classes to become young kids. They're young kids already, but to start going, and growing and learning how to actually learn.
Right.
That's the thing. Them elementary school kids, they've got to learn how to learn.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
no doubt.
It's hard to motivate kids, as they're that young. And then you've got like the next group that I was kind of wanting to talk about is like the middle schoolers. So I've got one. She's in middle school, and she's at that age where she gets super frustrated. She just wants to throw in the towel. Yeah. And she's really smart, and she's really caring, and she's fun-loving and outgoing, but she struggles when it doesn't go easily. So sometimes it's hard to push through that.
That's a generational thing, man. I think that's that generation.
Yeah, but it's not so hard when they're playing on their phones. They can figure that stuff out real quick, right? So they learn that quick. So I think that they could take that and apply it there. So how can you motivate them to do that?
That's a good question.
So maybe that's their talent, right? Some of them.
Yeah.
They have different talents, and their talents are starting to blossom at that age. So teachers, parents, we have to recognize those talents.
Wow.
Right, and see what you can do to make those talents develop long term.
Right.
Because maybe they're really good with people. Maybe they're really good with numbers. And maybe that's the talent where God has given them, and they can go down that path.
You said something there.
Right. So and. I try to teach her to have big dreams, right?
Yeah.
So I talk to her all the time about, she has our dog got hurt earlier today, and she was like, jumped in line, and I was like, maybe you should be a vet, because she came over to you started fixing it, she was calm. Maybe that's a good way to go for you. So we'll start maybe developing those talents and whatnot.
Wow, yeah,
right,
yeah, that's So you said a lot there, man. I don't mean to cut you off, but like a lot of times too, that's really important,
right?
If you see a kid just cannot get word problems right, maybe break it down into words he understands.
Right.
Hey, I can't think of any players. LeBron James hit for 23 points. He got fouled in the fourth quarter, went to the free throw line, shot one free throw. He missed one, got the rebound, put a layup back up.
Right.
How many points did he get off that? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Just a different word problem. Use people because in my day it was Jill went to the store. Brian left.
Right. So there's it's funny that you say that. There's you could teach algebra off of that. So LeBron James scored 10 points in the first quarter. How many does that mean he's going to score for the game? 40, right? That's algebra, right? So I mean, you can use that
if you can see what, like you said.
But that's great for me and you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But for somebody else, it may be something different.
Maybe something different. And you got to figure that out. So that's what I'm saying by like trying to get their talents and recognize their talents.
Yeah, that's nice, man. Yeah.
So the next kids that I like to try to motivate, and this is I've kind of been doing this like we had talked on our previous podcast about coaching the high school kids and basketball and stuff like that.
No doubt.
High school kids, we've got 3 of those. We got 2 that are going like we talked about.
So you got 3 high school kids?
Yeah, we got 2 that are sophomores.
Okay.
So one's a sophomore at William Blount, one's a sophomore at homeschool, and actually he may actually be a junior. I do know that in the homeschool program he's doing it's more accelerated, so he can get his diploma a little bit earlier. And then my son, and it happened last year to the 2020 kids also. So my son's a senior. Our son's a senior this year, so he's going to take like every other day. So he don't get his senior year. All the stuff that everybody wants to do their senior year, hang out with their friends last year, go on the senior trips, the last games, the last day walking down the halls with your jersey on and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't get all that. They're getting robbed because of this virus. So, that to me, I look at that and I'm thinking, man, that would have a negative impact on me as a kid. How can you help doing that? So I think as you get into high school, it's important that you look back on who you become, all the way through from elementary. So one of the first things, and you never really think about this, okay? So one of the first things you learn as a kid when you get in school, because I didn't teach any of my kids this, they learn to pledge allegiance.
Okay, yeah, no doubt, yeah, that is, yeah.
Okay, so as you get older and in high school, you're really starting to develop as a young adult, right? So your work ethic is going to pledge your allegiance to who you are. So when little kids are pledging allegiance to the flag, your work ethic is going to pledge that allegiance to whatever you need to be. Those talents are going to start developing, and if your work ethic is strong, people are going to see that and recognize it. I said something. I think I said something to you in the gym the other day, or texted you about your work ethic. It has to be strong, and if you're going to, you can't purchase greatness on a mediocre work ethic.
Well, I use a podcast, for example. So I get emails all the time and comments all the time. Hey, purchase X amount of subscribers or X amount of video hour views for X amount of dollars.
Right.
Well, yeah, I could do that. But what happens when the money runs out? Am I still going to have people watching? Are them people even real? Are those bots? So yeah, you give me this false sense of, yeah, he's great.
Right.
He had 500,000 views, 500,000 subscribers, because I could afford it. But then once I can't afford, then what?
See, I didn't even know that they did that.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. So this podcast game is crazy. Or internet game, whatever game you want to call it.
The last thing, kind of like I was talking about with these high school kids, some of the times what I think that I found is they want to do everything as fast as they can.
Oh yeah.
So they want to take their game and their passion, and they want to mix it all together and throw it in a microwave, put it in there for like 30 seconds, and come out and think they can shoot the ball like Steph Curry.
Oh man.
Right.
40.
Right. They think they can just be Steph Curry. You're like that, but it don't work that way. You can't take that. All that stuff that makes you and developing those talents and put them in a microwave and automatically be talented.
Right. Well, people seem to forget, like it's literally tape that you can Google or type in on YouTube of Steph Curry at like first, second grade shooting at his dad's practices, shooting threes.
Just all the time.
Or just shooting jumpers. I don't know if he's shooting threes then.
Right.
But he was shooting from then. So imagine.
I know. So
like what makes you think that you didn't need to start then or try to make up that ground from, what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So we talked about, recognize those talents and us as parents and teachers developing those talents.
Right.
But once those talents start getting developed and you recognize your own talents, then that's on you to start owning those talents.
Right.
And then what can you do with them moving forward? And so you have to set goals for yourself. Okay. And what is a goal really? Okay. Many people have different opinions. Okay. For me, it's your vision of the future. Where do you see yourself? It could be a small goal. I mean, it could be a long-term goal.
See, I'm more of a fan of short-term goals.
Right.
So this is how I do goals. first thing I want to do is make sure I get in the habit of doing something over and over. So I'll just use a podcast, for example. My goal was to shoot the podcast till my birthday. That was my goal.
Right.
As long as I can be consistent for week after week till my birthday from when I started, goal's about to be completed. Right. My birthday is August 15th.
Sweet.
You see what I'm saying? So that was a short-term goal. So now I'm like, hey, so the big goal is to turn this into a career.
I hope you get there.
I do too.
I'll join anytime. I love it. It's fun for me.
Hey, we may have some money on the way. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's the long-term goal. I don't expect to see that goal 5 years. You know what I'm saying? That's 5 years. That's a 5-year goal. That's a long-term goal. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not going to discourage me that in 90 days or since my birthday's coming, I didn't get paid. Mm-hmm. But what's crazy is I did make a little something. I think in my Anchor account I made $2.
Sweet.
That's a lot.
Hey, that's you're right. But it's positive. It's a positive
proven
gain.
It's possible.
Right. Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not like I can quit my job and make it rain,
right,
but it's possible.
Absolutely.
So so that's kind of how I do it. I do long-term goals, short-term goals.
Right.
Even with bodybuilding or lifting weights, man. The goal is every week. My goals are weekly with that. The first goal is to get there.
Absolutely. That's a small one, right?
That's a small goal.
Right. Sometimes it's the hardest.
Ain't that. Making it to my birthday was tough, too, for the podcast. But, yeah, you're right. The small goals are the hardest because that's like it's going to require action every day.
Everyday action. Absolutely. So I'm so glad you talked about that because, okay, so for me, like I said, a goal is you're trying to tell the future, how you see yourself. Mm-hmm. So there's two ways you can look at a goal, the way I look at it. Okay, you've got appreciation. I'm sorry. You've got apprehension.
Okay.
So you're scared of the goal, or you're scared of it. You're nervous. Your head's
when
we played football.
There, man.
We played football growing up, right?
Yep.
And they said if you're scared, you're going to get hurt. When you go and hit somebody, you're supposed to hit them full speed. Even if you're doing it and you're blocking the wrong person or you're running the wrong route, you run it as hard as you can, as fast as you can, right? If you're scared, you're going to get hurt. So you can look at a goal and that way, or you can look at it with anticipation, excitement. Okay, and that's kind of where I try to be. I said wake up with an agenda. So an agenda, and those goals don't have to be huge. Sometimes my goal is just to go to work and not smack somebody for doing the wrong thing, right?
And sometimes my goal is just to go back tomorrow,
right? Just to be my everyday goal is to be better than I was the day before.
Exactly, mine too.
So if we can do that as people, then we can move forward. We can help find ways to beat the coronavirus. We can help find ways to make each other better. I think if we can all face goals with anticipation,
right,
instead of apprehension, it'd be better off.
And I think that's the thing, man. I think like you said, people, this microwave society I guess is what I call it. There's no anticipation.
Yeah, they're not excited.
Well, they can't be excited because I think. Okay, I'll give you an example. When I first started really focusing on like bodybuilding and weight training, I would watch YouTube videos of like professional bodybuilders, Kai Green, Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, all the great Jay Cutler, all the greats, Dorian Yates, you name them, Flex Wheeler, Arnold, all of them, all the greats. Lee Haney, don't want to disrespect him. Don't want to disrespect anybody, all the greats, right? And when I would finish watching the video, in my mind, felt like I did some work.
Right, because see, that's important too. This is when we're bodybuilding or when we're working out, it's not also important that we work out, our muscles and we got to work out our mind too. Remember to always stay fresh and getting better up there to get better elsewhere.
And that's true. That's true if you take it that way.
Right.
But a lot of people take it like, I watched Tommy lift, so I lifted too.
Right.
But Tommy's getting all the gains. Shame on Tommy. How's he better than me? How's he great?
Yeah.
I watched him do all his videos. I watched him lift all the weights.
That's true.
Why am I not where he's at? And then that done, like my kids. I watched them watch people play video games. I watched them watch. They don't play video games. They watch people play video games. And I always ask them, why don't y'all play the game? why you see your daddy does all this? Why don't you play the video game and talk to the audience? Like, why are you watching people play the games? Give an example. You remember when we were kids? I think I talked about this on another podcast too. You remember when we were kids? I don't know if you had older friends or something. They be playing the video game, Nintendo, Sega, Atari, whatever it was. They be playing, and they be like, "Let me show you."
Yeah, let me show you.
You like, no. You know what I'm saying? No, pass the sticks. You know, pass the controller, man. I think I can figure it out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You sitting there the whole time arguing, trying to get your turn.
Right.
Now it ain't like that.
Nope.
They much rather watch you play. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it and I've noticed that, but it doesn't make sense to me. No, I want to be involved. I want to be in the game. I don't want to be standing on the sideline. I don't want to be in the stands. I want to be in the game.
And that's what I think with the microwave society is that they don't feel like they have to even play in the game to get the trophy.
Right, and that could come back to all the participation awards that everybody gets.
Wow.
You know, I don't really want to go down that road.
Okay.
Because we can, though. We
don't
can
have
debate
to.
it all day
We don't
long.
have to. No, we don't have to. No.
But I think you should be rewarded. They don't give a trophy to everybody in the NBA. Only one person is going to get the MVP trophy at the end of the year. They're going to be a best offense, a best defense, rookie of the year, coach of the year. 5-6 trophies, that's it for all them players. You know, you go to these other leagues, everybody gets a trophy. Nobody wants to recognize who was the MVP, who was the best player in the league. Well, we don't want to recognize that kid. Why? Because it's going to hurt these other kids' feelings. So, this other kid might be talented, more talented, but he also might have had to work to earn that talent. So we're not going to recognize that. We're not going to praise that talent like we had just talked about earlier. You know, if you're the best at something, you should be rewarded for that.
So I think you just answered the question. Do you think, and I know this is a little bit, I know we done got kind of off subject. Do you think that genetic and God-gifted ability sometimes takes the credit for hard work? So you see a kid that all you see is he put up 40. The whole world gonna say, oh, he's just gifted. He's just genetic.
I do not. Okay. And I've got a good argument for this. You and I on our last podcast, we talked about who do I think was the best football player ever.
Yeah.
And I said Randy Moss.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Randy Moss. Okay. Well, how do we recognize Randy Moss? Was it his work ethic? Nope. He was taller. He was faster. He could jump. All that was God-given. But when somebody asks you who's the best receiver ever to play football, the answer is always Jerry Rice. Who's more talented? If you were sitting here in their primes and you could pick Randy Moss or Jerry Rice, I'm going to pick Moss all day long. But we all know that Jerry Rice is the GOAT. Because his work ethic was second to none. Think about what Moss's numbers would have looked like
if
he had half of Rice's work ethic. And that's what I talked about. You can't purchase greatness on a mediocre work ethic. You can't do it. It's going to bounce. You can try to write a check. Come back, insufficient work ethic.
So yeah, you just hit home with that because Moss would have definitely won a Super Bowl with Jerry Rice's work ethic.
Yeah.
He would have won the one in New England with Jerry Rice's work ethic.
Yeah.
He would have forced that game. So since we're on sports, man, last time he was on the podcast, we did the top 5 rappers of all time. And he said he got a little bit of a hard time.
Every day my kids make fun of me. So I want to go ahead and redo my top 5 rappers. It just take me a second, I promise. So my number 1 that I gave you last time was Eminem. That's not going to change.
It shouldn't. No, he's
that's who I like.
Yeah, no, he's
okay.
dope.
And then I give you Snoop, Dr. Dre, and Tupac.
Okay.
I have 4. Those are not going to change. Where everybody's making fun of me is
Post Malone.
I said Post Malone. Okay, so a true story that happened to Hunter, my oldest son, and I. We went to watch LeBron in Atlanta.
Yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah.
Okay, so, and I like to tease people. I said I went and watched the game with Luda. Luda was in the front row.
What?
So actually, Luda would have probably been my number 5 rapper.
Okay.
So they could correct that now.
Okay. Cool. That's good to know because Post Malone, everybody was like, all right, well, whatever. He had a hit though. He got hits all day.
Right.
But yeah, so we both grew up wrestling fans.
Right. Absolutely.
I know back in the day, man. I remember being a kid and we used to play Royal Rumble on the deck.
You know, we used to play it in the swimming pool, but that's a little more extreme.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like a high deck,
right?
But it was enough. You know,
right.
You feel it if you hit it. You know, and we'd have the whole neighborhood kids, man. We probably had 13 boys in the neighborhood,
right?
So and they'd all be in the Royal Rumble. There was this one big kid. We called him Earthquake. So it take the whole. We had to gang up on him, throw him over the or whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah, but anyway, so we were rapping before the podcast about like top 5 wrestlers of all time, man. And I thought that was so dope because I think we both can agree 3 to 4 of them are pretty easy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So let's go. I'll say my number 1, then you go number 1.
Let's go 5. Let's start at 5. Let's start at the bottom and
start
come
at
up.
Oh, you want to go to the bottom to top?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because 5 gonna be the hardest.
5 is gonna be the hardest for me. So I have like 3 people that I could put in at number 5 for me.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I would think you could put Triple H for me. Mm-hmm. You could put Sting. Mm-hmm. And you could put The Undertaker. And I'm going to give my number 5 spot to The Undertaker just based upon the longevity of his career and what he's meant to the whole WWF, WWE, you know, for so long. And he was undefeated for so long. He may still be undefeated at WrestleMania. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know he was for a long, long time, like 21-0.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put Undertaker as my number 5. With those other 2 that I mentioned, I want them to get some notification because I think they're...
Well, so Sting would be my number 5. Sting... It's either you'd either have Sting or you'd have Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hey, he was fun to watch, man.
He
carried that 2x4 around. Oh yeah, he was a true patriot. Man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't like the greatest wrestler.
No, but he was a good entertainer.
Yeah,
right. He was fun to watch. Yeah. I agree with that, man. He was very fun to watch.
So you got it 4.
So this is going to shock a lot of people. Anybody that knows me knows how much I love Dwayne Johnson. Okay? I love The Rock. I got a shirt on.
Yeah.
You know, if he comes out with something, I'm watching it. You know, anything that's to do with The Rock.
No, I like The Rock.
I got
it. I like him.
So I'm going to put him at 4. And then everybody's going to look at me and say, you got The Rock at 4? Yep. I'm going to put him in at 4. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to put him in at 4. Because I think he chose the path that he's on now, and he's a better man because of it. I mean, he you know, he's got the Under Armour clothing, he's got all the movies. You know, I think he's been People Magazine Sexiest Man of the Year. He's got his own tequila out now. All that stuff. So he's like a whole, and he just bought the XFL. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know that, yeah.
So I mean, he is like way above anything as wrestling. If he would have stayed as a wrestler, he could have been at the number 1 of the list, right?
Yeah. He reminds me of Hulk Hogan, but he just was a better version because he got out quicker.
Right. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, all those action movie stars in the 80s and 90s. Everybody was like, who's going to take that role? They're getting too old. They can't do that anymore.
Right.
The Rock. He's the answer. So as a wrestler, I put him in there at 4 just because he chose to be the person he is, and I'm glad he did because I love watching his movies and all the stuff that he does.
I think he's a better entertainer than he was a wrestler.
I agree.
My opinion.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
But whenever he would get that mic and you talk about the people's elbow, you smell what the Rock's kicking, some of the funnest times, man.
Yeah.
He was good.
No, I give you that. He'd be my number 6. The Rock he'd be number 6. I'm gonna go Razor Ramon 4.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Razor Ramon 4.
See, I liked him. I mean, you know,
I like him.
Yeah, he would flick that. He would flick that toothpick.
I like, and he had that there more than me. He reminded me of Gambit. I was a real big Gambit fan. He had that draw.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
His that razor's edge, that drop where he would get him up here and drop him, that was one of the coolest moves, man.
Yeah. So he's the highest paid wrestler of all time.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's good. You know, and he was also one of the founding fathers, if you will, of the NWO. It was him and Kevin Nash.
What was he at that time? He wasn't Razor Ramon.
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall. His
name,
Hall.
right?
Yeah. So I didn't like Scott Hall, but I liked Razor Ramon.
So you didn't like it when they did the whole NWO thing?
Well, I liked NWO. I just didn't like Scott Hall, the character, which is weird.
Yeah,
it's real weird. But who you got at 3?
So 3 is going to be for me is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Ooh.
The Rattlesnake. The Texas Rattlesnake, man. I had a shirt. I mean, I had the Austin 316 shirt. I went and watched him wrestle. I thought he was best, and then his move, the Stone Cold Stunner, and then he
had a pretty good movie career there for a minute too. He caught a couple good ones.
He did. You're right, and I think he got cut short. His career got cut short because of the
neck, wasn't it?
Somebody was supposed to do a tombstone pile driver, but they ended up sitting all the way down on it, and his neck got jammed down into the mat. So, but when The Rock and Stone Cold were on there in the 90s, man, it was just, you didn't know what either one of them was going to do, and it was so entertaining.
I forgot they were together.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So he would be my number 3.
Number 3? I'm going to go Bret the Hitman Hart, man.
I forgot about him.
I'm going to go Bret the Hitman.
I can't believe I forgot about the Hitman.
Yeah, the reason why I like the Hitman is, A, the Hart Foundation, but B, was, you remember I was talking about the Royal Rumble.
Right.
The greatest Royal Rumble performance was by the Bret the Hitman Hart. He limped out. They broke his leg in a preview because he fought before the Royal Rumble. He still came out. Limped. It took him the whole 3 minutes to get to the ring. He gets in the ring, limps, sneaks around the ring, and gets everybody out the ring.
Yeah, he was good. He had a nickname. It was about how tactical he was in the ring and how.
Oh yeah.
I forget his nickname, but he was.
Yeah.
That's what he was.
I can see it. I can't say it. It'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah. So I agree. He should have probably got it a little bit higher on my honorable mention list for sure. I think so too.
Yeah. Who you got? 2 and 1 is.
So to me, 2 and 1 are kind of no brainers, but
who you got?
I got Hogan at 2.
Ooh,
the Hulkster.
You know what's crazy, man? Hogan ain't in my top 5.
So I don't see how. And then Rock wasn't in your top 5. So yeah, I'm kind of like, wait a minute. Hey, but it's your list, right? So that's the fun part of this. This is the debate. So the Hulkster, man. The reason I got him in there, it's not because I was a Hulkamaniac. I wasn't. He was a great wrestler, and he kind of took it from where it was, and he kind of put it on the map.
Oh
man.
Yeah. As far as what he did for wrestling, you could argue he's the greatest.
Yeah, you could.
I mean,
that's why I said I thought your 1 and 2 was going to be the same, but you could. It's depending on.
Well, see, and with this list, I'm going off mine, like who impacted me, who entertained me, not off kind of what they did for the sport of wrestling. Because if we did it for the sport of wrestling, The Rock, Hulk Hogan,
right.
It's a lot of names you can name, but as far as like my GOAT, like who I was tuning into, is that's how I selected mine.
So the funny thing to me, a funny story about the Hulk Hogan. So I do this, and we work out and we listen, we make fun. My kids make fun of me. You listen to Post Malone, right?
Oh
so
yeah.
On 4th of July or any kind of patriotic holiday, I'll play Hulk Hogan. I'll play Hulk Hogan's music when I'm working out. I'll just put on repeat for a few minutes and just listen to it. I am a real American. Yeah.
5 foot 1.
Right. So, and then he would get in there and he would just play to the crowd, man. He'd do that and then start flexing.
24-inch pythons.
Yeah.
No, I'm with
you.
The
training, the saying the prayers, the taking your vitamins.
Yeah, I take them now. I say my prayer. I do everything you say. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm going to go Flair, too. I'm going to go Flair, man.
Ric Flair at number 2.
The reason why, man, because I wasn't a big Ric Flair fan at the time. But as I've become an adult and went back and listening to a lot of his interviews,
oh man,
he was an entertaining.
Oh, I
got a limo a mile long,
right,
with 50 women, with beautiful, just begging, waiting on me to go, woo,
styling and profiling.
Rolex watches.
Right.
I mean,
kiss stealing, diamond ring wearing. Yeah.
Man, like I didn't catch that as a kid. But when I was watching, I said, man, this dude, man, he wasn't playing. He wasn't the most athletic.
Nope.
Wasn't the best physique.
Nope.
It goes back to that work ethic. He worked harder than
work ethic. Amen.
Didn't have any genetics.
Right.
Except his hair.
He was so entertaining. He had the robes. He had the theme song that he came out to, and he would just, everybody knew who it was. And it was like, hey, that's Ric Flair, man. Right? So that's my number 1. So
that's your number one?
Always has been.
Wow.
I've been a Ric Flair fan since I was, a little kid. He's always been my favorite. His finishing move is one of the most boring finishing moves ever.
I've seen a lot of people limp out of there.
Yeah, he would tap out, and he had some epic battles. And and another thing that was fun about Ric Flair was when he would bleed because of that hair. He would be a little bit of blood, but it would look like a lot because of his blonde hair.
Well, see, that's why Sting is in my top 5 because I watched those battles.
Oh man, it was so epic. Much. And one of my favorite things about Flair was the Horsemen. So the 4 Horsemen, and they all had a place. And if you were going to be a member of the 4 Horsemen, if you were the best wrestler in the 4 Horsemen or not, it didn't matter. Ric Flair was the champion.
Oh yeah.
And if you were a contender, you were no longer a Horseman. He was just going to beat you down and kick you out. You know? So his role was the leader and the champion of the 4 Horsemen. And I actually got to see Ric Flair wrestle live several times.
What?
Yeah. So I'm older, so I got to see him when he was in his prime.
That's what's up.
And then they did the ESPN 30 for 30. So me and my kids, we watched that together. Yeah. My 2 boys. So
I watched it with my daughters. Yeah, I watched that with my daughters.
It was. It was a good show.
Yeah.
To me, he's my number one.
Yeah. I went back and forth on him being number one. I could have moved these 2 either way, 1 and 2, but I'm gonna go Ultimate Warrior was my all time favorite wrestler.
He was
I was a Ultimate Warrior fan. Oh, the Warriors in my veins.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was a Warrior fan. And that's why I can't put Hulk Hogan high. Because I loved the Warrior so much.
Right.
And that was just like not his nemesis, because they really wasn't. Because the Warrior was weird. He was a good guy, but a bad guy.
Right.
Because he was against Hogan.
Right.
But they wound up being cool. You know what I'm saying? It was just, man, it was weird, man.
So there was I don't remember the year, but there was a SummerSlam match, and if you remember, it was the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah,
he was the Intercontinental Champion, and he was standing in the ring, and he just opened a challenge. He said, "Anybody who wants to come out and wrestle me right now for my title, come on out here." And then all of a sudden, the Warriors music hit. He ran down through there, jumped in the ring, bounced off the ropes like twice, did one clothesline, and then body slam. He won in like 30 seconds, and he grabbed the belt and he left, man, just super fast. It was fun to watch. He was good. He was real good.
Yeah, he was my favorite. Man, that's cool, man. Yeah, we next time, man, we're gonna do something else like that, man. That's cool, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
Because in our day, man, wrestling was kind of like football.
Yeah,
I remember watching wrestling way more than football.
Well, there was a lot of football players that didn't make it to the next level at wrestling.
Yeah,
The Rock,
Ron Simmons,
right.
Shoot, a lot of them, man.
I see the Steiner brothers.
Yeah.
Oh man, they were fun to watch.
The Legion of Doom.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot. So yeah, there's a lot, and also wrestling and football. Low center of gravity, strong. You got all that stuff working.
Big size.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of common stuff as it goes from wrestling and football.
Right. So this top 100 list that just came out, man. What you think about that, man? I looked at it. I won't go all the way to 100, but okay. So I guess what I thought with the list was you kind of took into consideration a player's history.
Right. Instead of just that year.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I looked at it, I was like, first thing I said to him, like, Khalil Mack.
Right. Khalil Mack.
I felt like, to me, but see, I'm basing it off 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I feel like he was the number 1 player in the NFL. Right. I watched the kid get an interception, a fumble recovery, 6 sacks, and interception for a touchdown.
Yeah, and that one game. The first game as a Bear, right? Yeah, no, I watched that too. And I was like, well, he just paid for himself on that trade, right? So, yeah.
The one game. Yeah,
he was a beast, man. You're right. I looked at the top 100, and football is hands down my favorite sport. I watch it all the time. I could talk about it 24/7 and never get old. So the first thing that I thought of it, I also like looking at numbers and statistical information. So I broke it down. I was like, what is the top 100 telling us? First of all, it's telling us that the players voted this list in. So what did the players think about themselves? What
I didn't take that in consideration either. The players vote the list.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay, so the players fill it out, and
so this is the ultimate respect,
right? So your peers are voting you. So so I looked at it and I was like, okay, let's look at it. Football is offense and defense, and growing up, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. Yep. So I thought, does that hold true on this list? So it's 55 offensive players on this list.
Okay.
And 45 defensive players. So pretty even.
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's
close.
pretty even.
That's close.
Okay, so then to break it down just a little bit further, let's look at the top 10. There's only 2 defensive players in the top 10.
Who'd you have? The dude from the Rams?
Aaron Donald. And Stephon Gilmore, the cornerback for the Patriots.
He's top 10?
Yeah, he's number, I think he's number 9.
What did he do last year? Did he have a lot of picks or something? I don't remember hearing his name.
He just didn't get thrown on a lot. A lot of breakups.
I forget. Yeah, corners, that's what they're judged on.
Right,
yeah.
So how many times do you get thrown on?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then if you remember, the Patriots defense was lights out. The first 4 or 5 games, they were scoring a lot of touchdowns and picks.
I do remember, yeah.
So, I mean, there was 2 out of 8. So 80% of the top 10 is offensive players.
Wow.
And then I said, okay, well, maybe I don't want to skew the data too much. So let's go back to the 20. So 14 of the top 20 are offensive players, which ends up being 70%.
Wow.
So I was thinking, okay, and Patrick Mahomes just led his team past the Patriots, who had the number 1 defense.
Right.
And then he goes into the Super Bowl, who Niners had a really good defense.
They did.
And he won. So does defense really win championships? Not this past year.
No.
Not based on the numbers that I'm seeing, what the players are voting in, and what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs did. Last year they didn't. It was an offensive. How fast can you score? How often can you score?
Right.
Who's going to score the most points?
Right.
And one thing we did learn about the list, if you have, one thing we learned about last year, if you got a 21-point lead, that's not safe with Patrick Mahomes.
No.
Right?
That ain't safe with Jackson.
Yep. And he's number 1 on the list. So we should give him some credit for being number 1 and being voted in by, all the other players, all the stuff that he did. He shattered Michael Vick's record for rushing. Right? And he led the league in touchdown. Lamar Jackson's only a running back. He can only run. He led the league in touchdown passes.
Wow.
So maybe there's a reason he's number 1.
Right.
So you could look at that list, what have they done the last 3 or 4 years, or what did they do just last year? Probably Lamar Jackson deserves it based on what he did. He won the MVP also.
Right.
But, it's fun to talk football, man, for sure.
Well, it's tough. The top 100 is tough because you're basing it on one season. In my mind, I can't do any list on one season, especially that long. Because 50. So I will say one thing that stuck out to me. They had what's number 12 for Tampa Bay?
Chris Godwin.
They had Chris Godwin above the other receiver. What's his name?
Mike Evans.
So they had Chris Godwin higher than Mike. And I'm thinking to myself, well, no, Chris Godwin had a great year. I had him on my fantasy team. He had a great year.
Right, he did. He come out of nowhere.
But is he better than?
Is he better than Evans?
Is he though? So then I started getting like you getting data, and I'm thinking to myself, well, in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe he will be because he's about to be Wes Welker,
right,
or Elderman,
right? He's going to be with Tom Brady, right? So
in the slot.
And then this Tom Brady's not going to, grip it and rip it like Jameis Winston did every play to Mike Evans. Mike Evans is tall. He's like 6'4". He's built like Randy Moss, right? So he can go get the ball. He's one of the best deep ball receivers in the league. Brady ain't had a receiver like Evans since Moss.
Yeah.
So maybe he will go back to
dipping, boom.
And then boom over the top. So we'll see.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm like you. One season, it's hard to do that, but that's what that's voted on by the players.
And
so
I get it, but it's just like, man, like that was a shocker, and it was another shocker too. They had Drew Brees at 11, I believe. Was it 11?
Yeah, he was up there.
Yeah.
So I looked at that too, and I broke it down by position. And 8 let's see here. There's 13 quarterbacks on the list. So quarterbacks always get a lot of the pub, but also when a quarterback throws an interception, he takes a lot of the heat too for the team, right?
Right. But was Drew Brees a top 5 quarterback last year?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
Over the whole career?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That what you mean?
Right, but last year, no.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because, I don't know, maybe a lot of the players have developed a respect for Drew Brees, and they know that, hey, he's probably the most accurate quarterback in all of football.
Man, Brees,
right?
he's the truth, man. It's just I was looking at it and I was trying to figure out who's getting judged really on this year, and who's getting the little cool points.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And after you telling me that it's a players voted list, I'm like, oh, so there's a little bit of respect involved.
Right.
And there's a little bit of really what you did last year. So Mahomes right now, after that contract, after everything, accolades, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl, he gets the ultimate respect.
Yep.
And then you get Lamar Jackson, which is the best turnaround story I think I've ever seen in NFL football.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, but do you think that will last? Do you think he will be able to do that again?
I think he will put up numbers. I don't think he will break records. Like he can't. I don't think he will sustain those numbers for a long period of time. I think the longevity of his career won't be as long as Pat Mahomes or Russell Wilson. Even we ain't even talked about him. He was number 2 on the list.
Yeah.
So Russell Wilson, if you remember, he used to run a lot when he came in the league. Not to the level of Lamar Jackson. Not
Russell Wilson is a smart runner. He's running looking to get down.
Looking to get down and not get hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see Lamar Jackson continue doing what he's doing because it's so fun, right?
Yeah,
I mean, to watch him. There's one play against the Bengals last year where he went in and he spun backwards and like 4 of them all just collided and he just took off right down the thing.
But so yeah, man. On that note, man, I'll let you leave him with some closing words, man. Because I know we've been kind of talking about some heavy stuff today, and I hope everyone out there got a little bit from this. Is we like to be entertaining, but we like to speak real facts, and we both love football, we both love our kids,
right,
and we both love America. So in this time, man, I hope we all can understand that we need to be together in this, because if we're gonna wear masks, let's all wear masks. If we're not gonna wear masks, let's not wear masks. We need to all be on the same page. Just because I don't think a lot of people, especially in smaller towns, don't think it's real.
Right.
And like I said earlier, I don't know how much I believe it is either, but I do know I don't want my kids to be the ones that find out.
Right. See, it's maybe not believing yes or no, is it real, as much as it is just being recognize it and being aware of it, and understanding, hey, it's definitely a possibility. People there is something that's affecting us as people, us as a community, us as a nation, and just recognizing and understanding the risk that comes with that. Right. That's what I think. I kind of have something fun, and I think it ties in nicely to what we talked about as a closing statement. So it's kind of it's a quote from Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, okay, cool.
So Abraham Lincoln said, "I am not concerned that you have fallen. I am concerned that you rise." So I think that's what we need to do as people, as leaders, fathers, husbands, for our families, our communities. We need to rise up in this time. And it's not just with the coronavirus. There's a lot happened in 2020.
Yeah.
So everybody's fallen this year.
Yeah. So
who's going to stand up and rise?
Yeah, man. That's a great way to end it, because a lot of people, like I said, I always like to use a podcast for an example, man. I remember sitting watching a video, and the guy said he started in October with his YouTube journey. And he said by March, I had these fames and riches and whatever. This goes back to what we've had this conversation before. A bodybuilder says, hey, I ate chicken and rice. I did one show and I'm Mr. Olympia. Everybody's story is a little bit different as they get big and great and everything. But I did take this from it. He got started.
Right.
And then he kept going.
Right.
So even with all this mess and stuff going on in 2020, I still stuck to the goal.
That's good.
What I wanted
you should be applauded for that, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. And I said that to say everyone should be doing the same thing, as far as if it's something you want to do it.
Right.
You can't use a virus or a bad situation or something to get lost in the shuffle, because everything has always been distractions to keep you from doing what you need to be doing or what you want to be doing.
Right.
If you're miserable, only way to change it is to change it.
So one deep thought, and you talked about a goal, all right, and having a goal, and we had already talked about that, and the two different ways to face that, right?
Right.
Okay, so a goal is your vision of the future, as we talked about earlier, but it's also a promise to yourself, right? Okay, and what is tied and connected to that promise is a price that you have to pay. Okay, the thought that I want to leave everybody with, the price is easy if the promise is clear. So if you've got clear objectives to attaining that goal, the price you got to pay, you'll pay it. All right? And if that's sitting up here banging out podcast every day until your birthday, you're going to do it.
Yeah, because
if it's eating chicken and rice every single day to get to your body weight that you want to be at, you're going to do it.
Yeah, you're going to do it if you want it.
Right. And that's just our goals, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we're talking about. Everybody's got different goals.
Yeah, I think my daughter's goal is to, go to what's the school in Massachusetts? What's a good one there? Boston. What's that school? College?
Harvard?
Not Harvard. The other one.
Brown?
I think it's the just the simple one. Maybe it is Harvard. It's Harvard.
It
Boston?
could be.
Yeah, but it's one of the schools in Boston.
Right.
That's her goal.
Right.
I'm like, well, you know what you need to do, right?
Yeah, work at it.
You're going to read books. You're going to your math where you getting 80s and 90s. That needs to be 99s, 101s.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And so she has a clear understanding of what she needs. Now it's up to her. How bad do I want it? Am I going to sit here and work on this math a little longer? Or am I going to get on Roblox?
Right. TikTok. It's like I said, man. The price is easy if the promise is clear.
Yeah, man. That makes a lot of sense to me because we all know what to do.
Right.
Nothing is. I mean, rocket science is rocket science.
Right.
But most of our goals are very minimal. It just takes a little bit of effort. For a long period of time. Now, some people could be consistent for a week and get their goal.
So I could go on and on, man. So you talk about being consistent for just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So you show up at the gym on Monday, and you do good Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday you're tired, and then Thursday, I didn't go yesterday. It's like renting a car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you show up at a car renter, you rent a car, an Enterprise, and you want a Lamborghini. You want to be mean and clean.
Yeah.
You got to take it back, right? So then you're going to go back to driving the other things. You can't just have a rental car. You got to own it. So when you establish a goal, you got to own it. You can't rent it.
Yeah.
You can't rent the goal.
And what normally happens, though, with that is, man, I used to have a Lamborghini.
Mean and clean.
It was tight. Well, what's this? Well, no, it don't matter about that, man. A guy told me this a long time ago. The older you get, the better you were. And I refuse to sit around and tell war stories about what I used to be.
Right.
I want to tell you about what I am.
Right.
What I'm doing.
I am who I am. That's what we're doing right here. Right?
Yeah. That means a lot with the goals. But we'll definitely do it again, though. We'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. But as always, man, I hope y'all got something from this. I surely did, and I hope you understand that we are in a time, man. We are really having to make a decision whether to send our kids to school in a pandemic. And it is scary time, man. And I'm gonna say the date. The date is August the 5th, 2020, and we are confused. We are confused. So on that note, definitely hit the thumbs up button. Like the video. Definitely comment below. Let me know what you thought about it. Would love feedback, so I can know which direction to take the show. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was about sports, it was about kids, it was about family, and it was about encouraging and motivating each other to go. So I enjoyed it. I hope you did. Again, this is the hashtag iAMWHOiAM podcast. This is episode 49. And as always, I'll be back. Yeah.